What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Sports JEDI Network with Chris the Flash Sports. We're going to talk some New York Yankees. Apparently, Hal Steinbrenner had a Zoom meeting, and we'll tell you about it here. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning for those that are watching this video. Salute, salute, salute. Welcome to the Bronx Bombers Strike Back podcast. I am one of the hosts, the Sports JEDI Kevin. With me with the second pair host is from Chris the Flash Sport. Chris, what's going on, Chris? How are you, pal?
What's up, Kev? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? How you doing, Kev?
I'm all right. I know that a lot of news happened here on the 7th of November on Election Day, by the way, when recording this podcast. We saw that the Yankee principal owner had a Zoom meeting, not a press conference. He couldn't spend the money to fly to Yankee Stadium, have a press conference in the stadium that we pay as fans to go watch this team entertain us for the summer, and host the New York City media, give face-to-face, but he decided he wants to be analytically innovated and do a Zoom meeting with selected member of the media. First and foremost, I thought that was a strike. You know, one thing about it, when you're a billionaire, a head of a association, yeah, you can say do whatever you want, but there still is some etiquette. There's some etiquette, there's some structure. And when I heard it was a Zoom meeting, not a press conference, quickly a red flag came up. Now, am I old fashioned, or are you okay with, first and foremost, just having a Zoom meeting?
Yeah, I thought it was 2020 all over again with the COVID thing. Like, I understand, I feel like he wanted to control the narrative, and he wanted to control who says what and what they wanted to ask and stuff like that. And that's what I felt like, because he knew his butt was under pressure. Okay. So he knew certain people was going to ask certain questions, and he didn't want that to happen. So I think that's just how I feel. Like you said, like, this man got so much money, why he just couldn't do the presser at the stadium?
Maybe he didn't want to buy the shrimp cocktails. Maybe he just didn't decide.
The chicken bucket.
Maybe it got too expensive to, usually they serve chicken. They don't serve chicken. I think they serve shrimp cocktails and sushi on those press conference. I didn't think he wanted to see a Madden or Mushnick, stuffing their face there. He says, free lunch is over. I don't know. I just, but let's get right into the details here. Looking at the video, I didn't see the whole full press conference. I'm going to be totally transparent and honest. But what I got out of the main idea, or the whole gist of it, was, first and foremost, one thing that did irate me or pissed me off, now correct me if I'm wrong, when he said he had to ask tough questions. I remember he came on the air pounding in his chest, I believe on K's show, we don't make the postseason, yada, yada, yada. He gave us all the word salad, and that's the title of this program today, this podcast. Hal Steinbrenner is serving the New York Yankee fan base some delicious word salads, and he's giving us zero F's given. He's showing us zero care of what needs to do to be a winning organization. Now, case in point, when the season is over, he needed to ask tough questions, but when the meetings happened internally before they brought in this audit group, he didn't show no face. He said that the coaching staff, the front offices, everyone, I guess team president, everyone but himself there, he even had my sister's ass there, and he didn't even show up. What the hell is going on here? You got to have face. You got to show face. Listen, if you're a billionaire running a billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company, you need to show there and show your face, Chris. You got to see people's body language, people's emotion, their eye expression. When you stand up there and you look at them and ask them the question, why did we underachieve? Why did we not win the at least one of the three wild cards in the American League? And even if they tell you even if they feed you the bullshit salad, you want to see that eye contact, Chris. What's your thoughts on foremost before we break down there? What's your thought? How would you handle it? Am I wrong? Go ahead.
No, you're totally right. You should be at every meeting. I don't care what you're doing. This is your team, apparently. So if you know the managers like Brian Cashman, the president, you know Randy Levine, all of them. If all the big heads are in one room, you need to be quote unquote like Roman Reigns, the head of the table. So you need to be in there and show face and be like, what the hell is going on? Not, oh yeah, send me a book report and let me wipe my ass with the paper. That's basically what you're doing. So I just like I agree with what you said. Like you need to be there. This is your team. You need to know what the hell is going on and not say, oh, I don't know who fault it is. I don't know who to blame.
You're spinning the wheels. It's the hamster wheel of turds. Because apparently he likes Boone as a manager. They're telling him, good manager, but then you're not getting the results. This is not year one, year two of Aaron Boone. There's a sample size, there's a shelf. There's a shelf, there's a ceiling with Aaron Boone, and we've seen it. We've seen the highest part of his ceiling is probably just getting to the American League Championship Series. When we got rid of our World Series manager back in 2017 or 2019, look, it's been a long time. It's just the numbers and the years are off a little bit for me. So I apologize for all those that want to dissect. Oh, he doesn't get his facts correct. But I want to get right back to it. When we got rid of Joe Girardi, it was to get a manager who's going to take us to the next level. They thought they reached their ceiling with Girardi, with this group of young players, to the American League Championship League Series of a Game 7. So they thought Boone was the one guy that was going to help them, along with Giancarlo Stanton, to take them to the World Series. And I think they've taken a step back, in my opinion. Now we have a large. Now it wasn't a year. We have a sample size, Chris. It's not just one. Mm-hmm. It's not 2 years. We have a nice chunk, about 4 to 5 year sample size of their decision. And listen, I'm not an analytics firm. I'm not an analytics group. I'm not a analyst or whatever the case you want to call. I could tell you with the eye test, they're not going. There is no more. That's it. I think they capped out with this with the front office, with the manager, with the coaching staff, and the analytics. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this team is capped out with Boone and Dan Lett's team and Brian Cashman. I think the only person I know for sure that likes Boone is Aaron Judge. And yes, I'm happy he's our captain. But sometimes you got to do what's best for the team, not just for one person. And Boone just got to go. And then y'all keep saying he needs to be tough on the players. That's not the reason why y'all brought him in there. Because if that was the case, y'all should have kept Joe Girardi. And Gary Sanchez, I know I'm going back, but that's the reason why y'all fired Joe Girardi, because he was too hard on certain players. Like, you could see it on the team who plays for Aaron Boone and who doesn't. We know Gleyber doesn't, because he doesn't hustle like he's supposed to down the line. Like, and then you don't hold him accountable. Like, you don't bench him. You be like, oh man, you can play the next game. It's fine. Like, that doesn't make sense. So now you want him to be tough and stuff like that. You can't have it both ways. You should have hired somebody. If y'all was gonna replace Joe Girardi, it should have been somebody a little bit tougher, a little bit old school, but also that knew how to use the analytics right and not kiss y'all butt and be like, whatever y'all say, I'll do. If y'all want me to take this bullet, I'll take it. That's not winning baseball. And then I wanted to bring this up too. I don't want to step over topics and stuff like that, but now you're talking about Bunton. Oh, Bunton's been down, this and that. It doesn't matter what other teams are doing. You should have been doing this. If you bringing young people up with speed and they get on base and you can't drive them up, then you need to bunt the ball. And y'all not teaching that fundamentals down in the minors apparently, because Nobody can bunt.
Right. We'll touch on that. That's a good subject we're going to touch on. I want to go back to with the Boone. Let's with the dissection of the Boone. Is again, I'm not a big Aaron Boone supporter. You know that. I'm not gonna, and maybe this statement is gonna sound maybe a little hypocritical because you've been killing him on the broadcast. And listen, I'm at the point that I'm not even want to do a Yankee watch on because I can't stand the manager. Case in point, here's now it looks like I'm being hypocritical now. I still think he's all decent manager, but I think his level, his expiration or his shelf life with the New York Yankees organization has come to an end. Doesn't mean he can't manage, maybe. Doesn't mean he knows how to manage the men or the clubhouse. He's probably a good baseball guy, but I think his shelf life with the New York Yankee organization and the fan base is done. I think they should have moved on from him because I think we're done. Everything has its end and a shelf life. And I think Boone, as the New York Yankee manager, has come to a shelf life, in my opinion, because we haven't seen anything where he's progressed or moved along players. Now, back to that, when you're talking about the disciplinary action of the organization and the team, well, now reports come out now that the New York Mets has hired Carlos Mendoza as their new manager. Carlos Mendoza was the disciplinarian and the tough guy in the clubhouse with the players, holding players accountable. That was his specific role. He was the more hard-ass, bad cop, good cop. I didn't like that when I heard that, Chris. Because if you want, and I'm not, and you know what? It's okay if you have a disciplinarian in that role. And I said it time and time, and I said it. Their biggest disservice the Yankees did to Aaron Boone as a manager when he was hired. They didn't bring him with a strong bench coach. You needed a former manager who managed the game, who has cachet, to be a bench coach. Because if he was going to take that, if they were going to delegate those roles, Chris, and your bench coach was going to be the disciplinarian, hard ass, all that good stuff. You need someone with cachet, and when they go and they go to the players and talk to them, and they look at him, and this is not the World Series ring, but just take as visual. Those that are watching this, take a flash, and when they talk to him, even by his hand movements, the World Series ring, that tells you, MFer, shut your mouth, listen to me, because I've won these. You want one of these hardware? You want this ring? Listen to me. And Don Zimmer, regardless, was a Hall of Fame winning manager before he became the bench coach for the New York Yankees. And when he spoke, what do you think? Who had his back? Let me ask you this. Who had Don Zimmer's back as a player in that clubhouse, if you remember? Maybe it might be a little far back because you were young.
Yeah, but yeah, I was definitely young.
Okay, I'm going to give it to you. He used to always rub his head, pretty much saw him as a grandfather figure. Oh, he just needed to give the man a kiss on the forehead before he went out and played shortstop. It was the Yankee captain, Derek Jeter. Before he became captain, he revered and loved Don Zimmer. And Zimmer took that kid and spoke and made him a captain. And but the kid was born with the natural leading abilities. Yes, but Don Zimmer helped them accentuate it and take it to another level because he was that's what and people want to know what are the specific roles of coaches in the organization and in baseball. Don Zimmer, they should, and again I go back to when they needed to always provide a leader as a bench coach. When Girardi, who did you recall who was Girardi's bench coach when he was the Yankee manager?
Was it Pena?
Was Tony Pena. But and before even when Zimmer left the organization and moved on for everything has a shelf life.
Yeah.
Torrey brought in Donald Arthur Manley, Yankee captain, leader. You gotta always, and he had no managerial experience, but he had that cachet. He was the Yankee captain. There's a cachet, and again, you don't have to bring a Barry Bonds. You have to just have a good baseball guy with knowledge that when they talk to a player, they gravitate and listen. That's all. And I think they did a disservice to Aaron Boone for not bringing him in with a when a bench coach. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I think it's too late. I think Boone's shelf life. I think next year, the Yankees are going to be in the same position and we are next year. We're going to be frustrated. Maybe we'll go on. Maybe we'll make the postseason. Yes. Maybe we'll even get to the American League Champions League Series. But I don't think they're winning a World Series as of right now because I don't know what the roster looks like. You could tell me you're going to get this guy, Joe Blow, this Joe, Susan hand job. They're not going to win a World Series. I don't think so right now. I don't think there's enough moves or players to go move them over the top. I hate to say it. Why waste your time then? It just doesn't show it. It doesn't. They don't. Especially after I heard from the Zoom meeting, from the owner, the word salad, the delicious word salad that he gave us with the side of bullshit, vinaigrette that he gave us. I have no faith. I have no faith of what I heard from the owner this evening or this early afternoon, morning, wherever you're hearing this podcast, Chris. And then he talks about not bunting and not doing the little things. And here's the Yankees' problem. You want to imitate everyone else in Major League Baseball for the moment. And when you're supposed to be the New York Yankees, you set the bar. You set the table. Everyone else sits their ass and imitates us. Not we imitate everyone. We're not monkey see, monkey do. We do, and everyone else sees.
Look, I want to say this too. My dad is 80 years old. He doesn't even watch baseball, but he knew that for the Yankees to win, most of the time they were spending their money because that was their backbone was the money, and then they started winning championships. Then people wanted to come with the money too, but they also is because it was New York, it was the bright lights. You got to realize after you finish baseball, you got to have a career after baseball. Yankees, just being a part of the Yankees, you can get your jobs that other places couldn't get you. So it's like, why y'all trying to? Oh yeah, the Rays are using small ball. Oakland's using money ball. Texas bunted more, so let's bunt. That doesn't make sense. Y'all have to follow what made y'all successful, not what made other teams successful, and we're gonna take parts of it. No, do what y'all do best. What did y'all do in 2009? Y'all spent. Y'all got CC, y'all got AJ, y'all got Nick Swisher, y'all got Mark Teixeira. What happened? What happened that year? We won a championship. What happened after that? Y'all wasted CC's prime. Y'all brought in Tanaka, but then y'all didn't do anything else with Tanaka. Then y'all brought in what's his name? Twinkleberry? Ellsbury? Like
Dingleberry.
He took y'all money. Yeah, he took y'all money. And don't get me wrong, I saw the vision, but again, y'all didn't want to pay Robinson Cano, but y'all paid another 30-year-old player. That doesn't make sense. So it's like y'all make one move like last year. Y'all signed Carlos Rodon. Yeah, we re-signed Judge, but y'all didn't do anything else. Y'all know we needed more lefty bats. Y'all know we needed a left fielder. I said this in everybody's screen, and I'm gonna keep saying this. I think we should have signed Yoshida that Boston signed.
You're right, and because he had a good year. He had a very good year. And you were on that train. You wanted him before you saw Yoshida played for the Boston Red Sox. I want to give him his flowers and his credit. Last offseason in the winter meetings, you did mention Yoshida. You thought, and you made some valid point. Left-handed hitter, who's a contact hitter, and you made good points. And the guy came up to Boston and had a phenomenal season. So I wanted to recognize and acknowledge you, like they say, for picking Yoshida and had a good rookies campaign for the Boston Red Sox.
And I don't want to hear, we don't know what the Asian people can do when it comes to the major leagues. Yeah, we can. There's enough sample size to where we can see that I'll say this, if you're at least a star or a superstar coming from Japan or Korea, I feel like you can do something in the major leagues. I mean, look at Yu Darvish before Yu Darvish got old. Tanaka was good. I don't care what nobody said. Tanaka was good. Even you got to realize this man he was supposed to get Tommy John, and he did, and he still was pitching good, especially in the playoffs. Then you got Ichiro, then you got Hideki Matsui, now you got Yoshida. Then who's the dude from the Cubs? He's good. Then you got Senga from the Mets. He had a good rookie year.
They're infiltrating the Major League Baseball, and they've been successful more than expected. They're exceeding expectation when it comes to the Asian ball players, and also what helps is the WBC. As much as people complain about it and call it the worthless baseball classic, but it's not. There is a purpose for the WBC because you get to see these different players from across the different nations, and now you can see that market up against your major league talent. Yes, it might be a glorified spring training to some people or some close-minded baseball fans might see what the WBC is, but I see it as a scouting because you're playing these teams on a high level of baseball for them because they want to represent and they want to bring this WBC back to their country, to Korea, to Puerto Rico, to Dominican Republic, to Venezuela, to Japan, and so forth. And that's why we're seeing a success in that Asian market in Major League Baseball with that. And I think there is something to it with the WBC for those naysayers that call it that it's a worthless baseball classic, which I disagree. But that's another argument for another day. But I want to bring back the point where you said with the organization moves, the New York Yankees, they have a cow. Let's call it a cash cow. So when you have a cash cow, you serve brisket, you serve sirloin, you serve New York strip. My point is, you serve the best of the best. But when you have a cupboard like the Oakland Athletics, you have to learn how to make a meal out of canned goods. And there's nothing wrong with canned goods. You can make a delicious yellow rice with canned vegetables, and the way you make the ingredients, and that's what Bill and Beans does. And shout out to Chef Dan because he's influenced, and of course my wife who knows how to cook, and they're there, and I want to give them that shout out there with the food analogy. Also, there's some organizations that don't have enough in the cupboard. Some people might have to use chicken and so forth. The Yankees are a cash cow. They have to use steak. Let me ask you this. Who won the World Series? As we speak here in 2023. Okay. Didn't Texas Rangers, didn't they sign Simeon and Seager to a high contract? They was like, oh, that's going to age terrible. They went and they made the moves for Verlander, Scherzer, Montgomery. Who did that remind you of? The Yankees.
Reminds me of the Yankees.
What kind of manager was managing a traditionalist baseball manager?
Bochy.
Who doesn't go by analytics nonsense? Traditional manager.
Bruce Bochy from the Giants that
Exactly.
won 3 chips?
4. No, 3 and 4 appearances.
So
remember,
to let you know.
We beat them with the Padres. And that's a manager 2 years ago. I said, give that man a call. Give that man a call. When we lost that series to the Red Sox in embarrassing fashion, that wild card, I said, you know what? Boone has to go. They needed a clean house then, and I said, we need to bring Bruce Bochy in here. Now, it doesn't look like anything's happening here. It looks like everyone's job is safe. According to Hal on that 40-page report, guys, things were said to one another and things were cleared. You know, he listens to Minaya, he listens to Saban, you know what? It looks like too many chefs have their ladles in the soup, in the gumbo. And no one has a particular taste because this guy might like the gumbo salty, the other guy might want it watery, the other guy might want it coarse or thick, and now we're getting is nonsense. And I'm a little worried when it comes to the Yankee organization, the way it's being ran, because the owner is showing zero fucks, zero cares, not being there. What did you doing in Tampa? First and foremost, I'm over here down in the minor league in Tampa. Why? You have a private jet. You're making a press conference. You're the biggest franchise in all of North American sports. You're supposed to be there. You know, you're supposed to have that. You know what? You know what? I guarantee the writers wouldn't mind getting out of the office or out of their home and going to Yankee Stadium. Let them dress up in suit and ties. Make them come there. Have that again. And it sounds like we said that in the opening opening of this podcast, Chris. But that still bothers me. To this moment here, that's going to bother me. I know the winter meetings are about to start or they're ongoing. What I know the winter meetings. Is anything else you want to go there before we go into that topic of the winter meetings? Anything you want to close out here with that, with Hal and all that, and before we go into the winter meetings?
I hope. I'm not trying to be negative, but if we do not win a World Series, I do not want to have another meeting saying we love Boone, Cashman's job is safe. I just don't want to hear it no more. Changes got to be made. I'm sorry. I understand, you and Cashman are married to the hip, but you got to divorce this motherfucker. Excuse my language. You gotta go. He's gotta go. Boone's gotta go. You can't sign these players and waste their prime. I hate that. All right. That's it.
All right, so now we got the winter meetings. We're not getting any change going whatsoever. We're not getting any change. Personally, I was hoping, and call me a naive Yankee fan. I'm going to give you this last thought. I was a naive Yankee fan. I was thinking Cashman was going to get elevated. I thought they were going to talk about this. Cashman was going to be the team president. I thought they were going to take a page out of the Mets, make Cashman the team president of operations, and Kim Yin was going to be the New York Yankee general manager. And with Boone is going to be there for the first year, and then we'll just all right. Now at least they bought them a couple of at least the off season or the winter meetings or the winter where you're going to come a little bit of a hope or an excitement. We got Kim Yim. She did great stuff with the Marlins. Maybe she brings in her own scouting department and Marlins were scouting some good players and developing something good down there. And maybe Cashman leaves more of the reins and he's going to be more the day-to-day where, and be honest with you, that move that should have been done because if Steinbrenner is showing us he don't care, give it, let you know what, I'm okay if you leave if Cashman run the day-to-day president of operation and have someone else like a Kim Yin run the baseball operation. Let him do all the marketing with the Yankee, and if he wants to sleep on the sidewalk in the pillowcase, that's great too. But we have Kim Yin working the phones and scouting and looking at the players, and we'll be great with it. If he wants to climb down the skyscraper, delicious. But we have a general manager in place that's going to make moves. And that's my last thought on that when it comes to that. I was hoping, call me naive, call me dumb, call me whatever. I have been called worse before. And that's what I was hoping for. It looks like we're not getting that. So, I would have loved that. That would have been cool because then you can transition. If it doesn't work, you let Kim Yin bring her own manager in next year and yada, yada. And they made a move. And to start off the winter meetings, the Yankees made a move. We know they lost Carlos Mendoza as the bench coach, so now they're in a search for a bench coach. I don't know if they're going to elevate Luis Rojas as a bench coach, former manager experience. Who knows? You heard, who did you hear again? You mentioned before the stream. I know I'm not going to take your thunder. I want you to say who it was.
David Ross from the Cubs, since they brought in the Milwaukee manager. So I'm hoping it's got to be, like you said, somebody with cachet that the players can respect and stuff like that. I don't know. I really don't know.
And they like Chicago, and the thing is, the Cubs got egg on their face. So October 2nd, they say they like the council. Ross, they were very happy with him, and then 30 days later, he's axed. He gets removed from Craig Council. Now Ross is out there. If Ross doesn't take the San Diego Padre job, maybe they bring him in as a bench coach where aspirations, maybe, if things don't go right, he might take over the Yankee organization. Because listen, they also got another news. They brought in a hitting coach. Who they bring in, Chris? You mentioned him, and of course.
They brought in the assistant hitting coach for Detroit Tigers. Now I don't know his name. I'm about to look it up because I really didn't care too much for him.
Okay.
So his name is James Rosen. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, he used to be a hitting coach for the Yankees back in the day, and then he became a hitting coach from somewhere else. I can't think of it. I think it was either the Padres or something, or Marlins, and then he got demoted and he became the assistant hitting coach for the Detroit Tigers.
All right. Now, I always say when it comes to hitting coach, there's different approaches, philosophies that might help. Sometimes it's a little bit, it's a very overrated position at times because you need talent at the end of the day. If you're not talented, you're not going to hit. And sometimes, you might have some techniques or suggestions from a hitting coach that will help out. Maybe, and for him to come into the Yankee organization is not a needle mover, in my opinion. And even if you would have brought in Barry Bonds, was it going to be a needle mover? All you're doing is taking spotlight away from the hitters into the hitting coach, like a Casey and yada yada. Yankees went. Chris Chambliss was a hitting coach. Chris Chambliss didn't win a batting title, but he was a beloved Yankee. You have guys in the past, that it's an overrated position at times. That's all. Chili Davis. Chili Davis was a very good hitter, but not a great hitter. It's just being a professional hitter at times, maybe that he sees something where it is, and it's just an overrated position in my opinion. So we go there with the general manager meeting coming up here. I know the Yankees, I don't know if it's them throwing chum out to the media, although personally I think the media is going to come after them hard or with venom, because I guarantee you the Shermans, the Mushnick, the Maddens, they were looking forward to eating that shrimp cocktail, man, and you took it away from them with that Zoom meeting. So there's going to be venom on those writers and those insiders, and not able to go to Yankee Stadium and have that press conference. But I digress. What I said is the rumors of Juan Soto out there for the New York Yankees, Yamamoto being signed as a free agent, Bellinger. What I'm seeing myself, I think the Yankees are just going to go pedestrian move. They're going to just bring in a left field that we don't think of, take someone else's left fielder off their hands, maybe a Kiermaier come in here, and maybe their big free agent acquisition. And I didn't want you to leave. I'm going to look at the camera real adamant. I didn't want you to leave the organization. I was so pissed off when they traded you, my friend, because they bought a worthless center fielder who always wiped his ass and got hurt. Jordan Montgomery, don't sign with the Yankees back. Please. I love the way you pitch for the Yankees, even though you were just a 3 starter. Don't come back. Stay in Texas. Do us a favor. I would love you to come and win the World Series with us personally. But you know what? Give this team a big F you. Don't come back. Seriously. Seriously. Look, I'm wearing the merchandise. I buy the merchandise. I spend my money like a moron on this team. Don't come back, Jordan, because they screwed you over for that piece of crap. And I'm going to say piece of crap, Harrison Bader. I was right, and I'm going to stay on the anthill. I was right. I don't care. So what? We went to the ASCS, and we got swept. Big deal. It's like being the tallest dwarf in the freaking circus. We still lost. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's just the way I feel. I hope you don't, and I know they want him back, and we need a lefty pitcher, but I hope it's not him. I hope he tells them go screw, kick rocks. Seriously. I know it's business. Look, money talks, bullshit walks. But
there's talking about him, talking to the Boston Red Sox. Don't get me wrong. I also agree with Kev. Do not sign here. But if you got any dignity and any respect for yourself, do not sign with Boston, bro. Because that would be the dumbest thing you can do. Because you already know how the fans are when certain players that they love go to Boston. And I look, you won your chip. I agree with Kev. You either go back to St. Louis or you re-sign with Texas. I wouldn't go to Boston. I wouldn't go to the Blue Jays. I wouldn't go to Tampa. Don't go to none of those teams. Don't even go to Houston. Like, that would be the wrong move to do. But I'm happy for you. What's that?
I hate to say it, is with the Baltimore Orioles.
I didn't even think about Baltimore. See, I can't even get mad about Baltimore. That's the crazy part. I can't even get mad about Baltimore. I just don't want him going to certain teams. No, they haven't. I mean, but
talk about a move that will hurt the Yankees. That's him in Baltimore, and he's pitching against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, and he's got 6 and a third innings of shutout baseball, 2-hitter.
And I wanted to bring the Soto thing up too, because I heard that the Padres might keep Soto, or they might trade him in the deadline. Look,
They're not
I'm a
trading. They're
Yankee
trading him.
fan. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm a Yankee fan. Yes, I would love him to come to the Yankees. But if you think keeping him and trading him at the deadline, you're going to get more, you out your mind. If you want the maximum, potential that you can get from Soto, would be trade him this offseason. Because I'm telling you right now, ain't nobody going to, whatever you think you want, you're not going to get, because ain't nobody going to pay for that for half a season of Soto. Because I did read some stuff, and and it's not just from Twitter. It talk about, oh, we might trade Tatis and this and that. Why? Nobody wants Tatis. And don't get me wrong, I know some people do, but I don't want him over here because that's basically like telling the organization or the fan base to be like, oh yeah, that's another person that might not listen to Boone. That might do what he want. I mean, he did everything he wanted with the Padres. That's why he got hurt. Then he took steroids.
When it comes to the San Diego Padres, it's been out there in reports that the Padres has some financial issues to make payroll. They had to borrow some money there right now. That payroll is so ballooned. I don't know if they could afford to keep them there. They're talking about the Yankees trying to give a lowball offer. You know what? When you have a 25-year-old player available for that kind of instinct, you go get him. You go get him who won a World Series. You go get him. If they want to offer you Tatis, you play hardball, says no. You might have to take a bad contract from the Padres back because they need money alleviation on the cap. This is where you use. And I know you're going to say, well, Cashman didn't want to do it because he didn't want to get. We criticize him for the Josh Donaldson deal. In that Josh Donaldson deal, I'm sorry, I can't. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa or Ben Rodnef was no Juan Soto to take on those other bad contracts. Yes, that's where you do that. See, you're doing I like your concept, but you're doing it for the wrong players. That's where you take a bad contract because you're bringing in a hell of a generational talent like a Juan Soto. Hopefully they do that. Let's hope on that there. I hope that goes there, but I think the Yankees are going to miss out on. They might get Soto. They're going to be on Soto. I don't think they're going to even. They'll probably pretend to have a meeting with Ohtani. Maybe they'll show him, what the Yankees, Yankee Stadium sushi chef knows how to make him a nice plate and invite him out to free Yankee sushi. And thank you. You know what? We made a formal meeting. We wanted to feed you, and we'll see you We'll see you whenever you go play whoever you sign with. I don't think the Yankees are going to sign Ohtani. I don't think they're entertaining that opportunity there whatsoever. I've said it. I personally, I'd rather have Soto and give me Yamamoto. I don't think they'll get Yamamoto either. I think the Mets were overbid for Yamamoto. I think the Mets were going to blow him out of the water with that contract, and they're going to say, "Ooh, that was a rich contract for a pitcher." I don't think the Yankees will sign him. I think it's the Mets who'll do that, in my opinion. And then we'll see where chips might fall. Will Glaber stay here? If they make that move where they're going to bring that Soto and the second baseman from San Diego, then you move a Gleyber Torres. But there's a lot of moving parts. The winter meetings, get ready, strap in, and I think there's going to be a lot of news and notes coming from that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I guess Kevin's the bad cop, y'all, because I think the Yankees should and need to sign Yamamoto to help Garrett Cole. Rodon, I like Rodon. He only had one season, well, not even one season to prove himself. But I'm gonna give him another chance because he did get hurt. But I just think we need Yamamoto. I think he can pitch good. Mets already got Senga. They already messed over with Justin Verlander and Scherzer. Go get Ohtani, and don't say. And this is another thing too about Ohtani situation. I don't want to hear that. Oh, he don't want to play in the East Coast crap because last time I heard, Scherzer didn't want to play in the East Coast, but then that money talks, and he came to pitch for the Mets. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hit or pitch for any East Coast team because if you give a player enough money and enough incentive, trust me, they will definitely come play for your team. But I just hope if Soto's not available, if we can get Yamamoto and Cody and then trade for the dude from St. Louis, Donovan, I'm happy. And maybe get Kevin Kiermaier.
We'll see. We'll have plenty of time to speak on that. We're going to end the broadcast here, the podcast, due to the fact that as we're recording this podcast, Brian Cashman is having a meeting with the media. So we'll have another podcast coming up maybe tomorrow to react on Brian Cashman's turn talking to the media. And again, personally, again, I'm going to harp it again. Cashman and Steinbrenner should have been together, face-to-face, seeing their body language to see they're in sync. And so the reporters could pepper them with questions, and they're both there. Now you're going to have a gymnastic media ping pong. Well, one said this on a Zoom, the other one said this on the other meeting, and now you're going to have a lot of confusion or interpretation of different minds of what party said. And that's dysfunction. That's this dysfunction. That's disorganization, and that's not what we're striving for. We're striving for excellence in New York Yankee. That's not the Yankee way. So that's a little bit sad to me to see that. But you know what? We'll leave the podcast here. We'll leave it there. You heard our thoughts. What's your thoughts? Please write us in the chat. Write us in the comment section there. And if we get a lot of feedback, we'll go live. We'll record for now because we want to draw a bigger audience. We want to make sure you're there to first and foremost to go live. We'll continue recording these podcasts, and of course, we're not going to saturate you with a lot of Yankee content. Not every time a Yankee organization or a Yankee member blows a fart, we're going to write or make a video. I'm sorry, I'm not that type of person, but we'll react to when we have concurrent things in the news. But again, thank you again. Don't forget it, Chris, to follow Chris the Flash at Flash Sports, his channel, YouTube, on Twitter, all the social media. Of course, the channel, Sports JEDI Network. You'll follow us on Twitter, write to us. You can find us in the description of the video. I'll post that there. Give us your thoughts, give us your opinions, and we answer right back, and we'll definitely want to hear from you guys. May the sports be with you. May the Yankee baseball be with you. Chris, give us your thoughts, and we out.
Yeah, like Kev said, keep the pinstripes going, and y'all can hit us up, and we'll hit y'all up as soon as we can. And again, you can find me on Chris the Flash Sports, and then BX. You can find him on BX JEDI. So hope y'all have a good day, and adios.